So, yeah, like I said the other day, it was announced after the V ban list came out for Japan for Cardfight Vanguard. On Friday, there would be a English update to the ban list, which we all assumed would include stuff specifically for here in the West, and lo and behold, it did. So let's take a few minutes to talk about it, like I did with the last ban list I do for all the Yu-Gi-Oh ban lists. Then we'll talk about the sort of little anime announcement they did. Was sort of hoping for something a little meatier, but hey, that's just how that goes. But yeah, so starting off with the list, this only affects V, which will be a big deal considering something that's on the list. But let us just start off with the stuff that was announced the other day, which is effective here. And first up, it's Black Observe Hamiel is banned. Good. Fuck Angel Feather in V. Holy shit. This went from being just an annoying protect deck that would cause you to go to time and locals to just, oh my god, the aggro. Like, holy shit, what were they thinking with this card? This is so fucking stupid and so consistent with how Angels play. Like, there was a reason people were playing 16 crit Angel. It's because of this bitch. So seeing her go, I don't think pissed anyone off. But then moving on, we have for Bermuda Triangle, Prudent Blue, Miep is at 1. Good. I've said it on the last list, I'll say it again. I hate Bermuda, so seeing them get any hits is good. But this thing is just freaking insane. Like, literally, you get to search out, 2 Melody cards with a top 7 check. And here's the thing. There's a good amount of Melody cards. This effect will go off and will give you access to some of the most crazy combos in V. This card needed the hit bad, and I'm glad to see it go. But then next, oh no, we go after my own heart with the hitting. Well, actually, there's 2 restrictions here. So first up, Percival is now restricted to 1. For V, so I can still do premium bullshit. But yeah, no, he is at 1. And because he is at 1 for everybody, they did the interesting thing of making it that Gurguit is no longer choice restricted, so you could play in 4 Gurguit and 1 Percival. This is kind of interesting. I do agree, this had to happen. Percival is a fucking crazy card. One of the most powerful Gold Paladin cards we've ever gotten. A card that made decks. Like, this thing is so damn good. It had to fucking go. And Gurguit just made it so fucking crazy. Maybe we dodged a bullet by missing that format due to COVID. But yeah, no, it's interesting because Gurguit can be very consistent and is very good at searching. And with access to things like, say, Fork Gorbaduct, as well as Gurguit's own calling skills, being able to deck thin and do all this, it'll be interesting to see if Gurguit makes a bit of a push-up due to the fact that it has access to even just 1 Percival. I'll be curious to see where that goes, though I'll be experimenting more with Azel thanks to the new Azel stuff, in which case I'll still play the 1 Percival, because Aglavale is still a great aggressive finisher card. So yeah, that is that. Once again, Golds get the hit, but I mean, it is kind of cool. We always need the hit. So then we move on. This is interesting. So this stuff is restricted only here in the West, which means we've seen something now a lot of people were hoping we never would, and that is, just like Yu-Gi-Oh!, we now have a split ban list for the 2 separate parts of the world. Many people don't like this, because now it means when you look at a Japanese deck list, you then need to factor in how is it different here. There's the fact that different decks are now good and bad here. God pray for all the Japanese players who now have to put up with Prism in Japan. But I do think this realistically does have to happen. Just like in Yu-Gi-Oh!, American and Japanese players have different mindsets when they go into deck building and how they play the game, and that's going to result in various forms of meta. Having said that, just like I said, Japan will probably now have a Prism and a Luard problem. But yeah, let's just take a look at this. So for Bermuda, it was all a choice. Well, actually, they're both all choice restrictions. So essentially in Bermuda, you can either play in a deck Silver Singer Coutier, Prism Image Rosa, or Mermaid Idol Ellie. You can't play them together. Only one! Good! I have more experience getting my cheeks clapped by Melody, but yeah, Prism is very powerful. Rosa is probably the one you want, because it just, like, is really powerful in the deck. but Kutir's ability to get to Ellie is kind of a big deal too. And so being able to just deal with it and kind of get that out of the way, I think is good. Bermuda will still always be very powerful just because they have access to so much powerful stuff. But I like seeing restrictions that genuinely deal with the degeneracy. And then finally, we of course had to hit Luard. Luard is just like insane. And I know this because I have Luard. And I always feel terrible when I use it against people. But that don't fucking stop me. So for Luard, you can either play Nemain, Black Sage Sharon, or Luard. Obviously, you would play Luard in a Luard deck, but getting rid of two of their best cards like this, I think, is really good. Nemain, in my opinion, has never been okay. This card was a mistake. Being able to just get out more of itself and deck thin is very good. Sharon is also a bullshit card that gave Shadows way too much power in V. And of course, obviously, Luard is insanely powerful. So while I think Luard can still do a lot and will still have a presence, not having as many of the tricks it has that allows it to be very dominant, I think is a very good thing. But yeah, no, this is a very good list. I like it. It deals with a lot of the problems. Where does V go from here? Well, hard to say. Obviously, I'm more of the anime guy around here, so I can mostly speak to that. But I think it does make the format more healthy, especially because going into this year's Spring Fest, for many of the locations, Standard and Premium are the same day. So for Sunday, unless you play Weiss, you have to play Premium. You have to play V. So being able to make V seem a hell of a lot better going into Springfest format, I think is very good and makes it feel nice. And I swear, I'm totally not just stalling as I try to find the fucking anime announcement. Here we go. All right, so for the anime, all we got was like a one-sentence plot synopsis and some new character base designs. So the concept of this new arc will be called Will Dress. Okay. And it's going to be about a tournament where 16 players from across the country will face off. Obviously, Yu Yu's going to show up because he's, your main character. And then we get 3 new characters. Raika Kashiba, this is from left to right. Michiru Hazama and Urara Hanayama. So, here's some questions. Will these guys be replacing our other main characters? Are they rivals? Are they just kind of there? I don't know. My gut says that they're not just going to abandon everyone else, especially because they put so much effort into marketing them rather just as cool characters or having cool decks or, waifus and husbandos. But I do think it would be sort of cool if these are just new rivals. Yu Yu doesn't really have rivals in the traditional sense card game anime does. Like, yeah, there's Toya, who is pretty much in the main rival role for this show. But it's not really a competitive rival. It'd be interesting to see him get some more competitive adversaries. And what's also sort of interesting here is, based on what they're showing us, it almost sounds like the other characters aren't in this tournament for whatever reason. So while I'd hope they don't leave, because I like these characters, it would be interesting to see how Yu Yu deals with things when he doesn't have his friends to back him up, when he doesn't have the people he's comfortable with to rely on, and when it's time for him to kind of stand on his own 2 feet and only have himself to look after and not fall back on anyone. It would be interesting because Cardfight Vanguard tries so hard to shoehorn in the characters when they're not needed. It would be interesting to see what would happen if he didn't have that. So I'm very excited to see where the anime will go, but I just don't want to wait. I want to hear now, damn it. But yeah, so that was today's Cardfight Vanguard news update. Give me your thoughts on everything. All in all, I'm pretty happy with everything. Would have liked maybe a little more for the anime, and, we'll have to see where the V format goes from here, especially with all the new stuff that just came out. But yeah, no, give me your thoughts on all that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and we'll see you all next time Vanguard does something crazy.